and welcome back to my channel. I am really excited about what we're going to be making today. So I've seen these everywhere. These look really good. There's those really insanely fluffy pancakes, soufflé pancakes. And these are kind of Japanese style because they tend to make a lot of desserts that are really fluffy in nature. And basically it's a pretty standard pancake recipe, but we're going to make a meringue, and we're gonna whip up those egg whites and mix it in, and they come out really fluffy and jiggly. So we're gonna give them a try. I'm really excited to try it, and we'll see how they come out. I'll be using my trusty mixer today because we are making a meringue. You can use a hand mixer for this as well. You can do it by hand if you've got that elbow grease, but we're gonna be using our mixer. And I'm gonna talk about kind of what we're gonna need today to make these. So the first thing we're gonna need is flour. I have just regular all-purpose flour, but you can use cake flour. It does recommend that you use cake flour. We're only gonna be using about just a tiny amount, so I think it should be okay. We have some sugar, just regular granulated sugar here. We have some baking powder, a little bit of water. So this is just gonna be to put in our pan to create that steam, to cook the pancakes nice and low and slow. And that's what's gonna give them that jiggle and that nice fluffiness. I also have some milk. I'm using whole milk, and this is definitely recommended. Some vanilla and 2 eggs that we're going to separate. We wanna separate our yolk from our whites because we wanna use those whites to make that meringue. So let's go ahead and let's get started, and we're gonna separate our eggs and go ahead and get started on that meringue. All right, to separate the eggs, there's no fancy equipment that's needed. If you have one of those egg separators, that's gonna make it really easy. You can also use a slotted spoon. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna do this by hand, and I'll show you how to do that. So we want our whites in this bowl because this is what we're gonna use. We're gonna put this on the mixer, and I'm gonna put my yolks in this bowl. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to crack it over our bowl that will have the egg whites. And I'm just gonna gently, very gently toss that yolk in my hand. And I'm gonna give it a good kind of once over back and forth, and then put the yolk in the second bowl. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do that with our second egg. I definitely don't recommend cracking it on the side of the bowl. Use a flat surface. That way we don't want to force any of those eggshells into that yolk. So very gently crack it open. Flip it, and it should fall nice and easily in that bowl. Give it a couple toss through your fingers. And what we have is our separated yolk. We're gonna go ahead and toss our second yolk in this bowl. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set our egg whites aside. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna whip those up next, but the first step is to prepare our yolk mixture here. Before we get started with our egg yolk mixture, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna preheat my skillet. I'm using a cast iron skillet. I do recommend using a non-stick skillet. I'm gonna go ahead and get that heated on low so that I'll be ready to go. To our egg yolk mixture, I'm going to add a 1.5 tablespoons of whole milk and a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're going to mix these together with a whisk until it's light and frothy. So here's our egg yolk mixture. We have everything nice and mixed together. It's a little bit frothy. And to that, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to add our dry mixture. I have 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour or cake flour. And you can sift that in there to make it a little bit lighter. And to that, we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And we're gonna go ahead and we're going to mix that together. So mix together just until you see that flour just combined with the egg mixture. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set this aside and we're gonna make our meringue. So here I have my 2 egg whites. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to put that in my mixer. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start to beat these a little bit just until they're frothy, and then we're gonna add in our sugar. Our mixture is nice and bubbly, nice and frothy. So So now this is when I'm gonna slowly and gradually add in my sugar. So here I have about a tablespoon of sugar. You can also use a little bit more depending on how sweet you like them. And always remember that you can add more instead of taking it out. We're gonna add a little bit of sweetness with the topping, with the whipped cream and the syrup on top. So I always err on the side of caution and use a little bit less than I think I might need. You can always put in a little bit more if you like a little bit more sweetness. I'm gonna set it to about medium. And I'm gonna gradually add my sugar just a little bit at a time. So these have been in the mixer at medium-high heat for about 3 minutes. And here we have a stiff peak. So basically you want to be able to scoop it up and it is stiff. It doesn't move. So these are perfect. The next step here is we have our egg yolk mixture. And what we're gonna do is we're going to gradually fold in the meringue into the egg yolk mixture. We wanna gradually fold this. We want to try not to deflate this. That's what's giving it that fluffiness and that jiggle. So I'm using a spatula, a rubber spatula here. You can certainly use a wooden spoon. I'm taking about 1/3 of the meringue mixture. We're gonna mix it in with this egg yolk mixture. So to fold, just scoop under and then pull over on the top. Scoop under, push down a little bit, remembering that we want to keep that fluffiness. We do not want to take as little of that air out of those egg whites as possible. So just until it's combined, you might see a little bit of the white streaks in with the yolk, and that's okay. Take a little bit more. Plop it on top, fold, scoop under, pull on top, scoop under, on top, under. It's gonna take around 3 or 4 batches to do this. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna finish folding the rest of my egg white in and then we'll get it on our pan. Okay, so we have our egg white mixture folded into our egg yolk mixture, and what you want to see is just until it's combined. You don't want to see any more of those, the color differences or any of those streaks. So let's go ahead and let's scoop this out on our pan. All right, we have our skillet heated. We're looking for about 300 degrees Fahrenheit, or as close to that as possible. I have put a little bit of butter on there. Just to make sure that it doesn't stick. And I also have my water standing by. We're gonna pour this in to create steam. You don't need that much, maybe a tablespoon or 2. So now what we wanna do is this recipe is gonna make 3 pancakes. So we just basically, with a tablespoon or a large spoon, just scoop out essentially just 3 dollops. You can already see how it stays. It kind of stays as a nice fluffy pancake already. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add a little bit of water to each of those empty spots on the pan. That's gonna create that steam. Okay, and then we're gonna put a lid on and we're gonna set a timer for about 5 minutes and we're gonna come back after a couple minutes and we're going to add a little bit more batter. Okay, so these have been cooking for about 2 minutes. And the timing here is gonna really depend on the type of pan and how hot your pan is. So we don't want to cook these too quickly like we do a traditional pancake. But we do wanna make sure that we cook them thoroughly because they are pretty thick. So after a couple minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add more to each of these pancakes. I'm gonna stack it up nice and high. So maybe another scoop or 2 on top until we've used up all of our batter. And we're gonna add a little bit more of our water to those empty spots to create more steam. That is what's going to cook the pancake. All of that nice steam, that's to make sure that it is all nice and cooked on the inside. So we're gonna give this another few minutes and we'll be back then. All right, so it's been about a total of about 6 minutes these have been cooking, and we're ready to try to give them a flip. They're definitely solid enough to flip, hopefully in one piece, and nice and browned on the bottom. We're just gonna start with this first one. We'll just scoop it up from the bottom and give it a flip. All right, oh, that looks beautiful. Beautifully browned, nice and fluffy. Let's go ahead and try this second one. Give it a flip, not bad. And you definitely want to make sure if you're finding that they're not solid enough to flip in one piece, definitely give it a few more minutes. Give it some more time. All right, so you have third time's the charm. Beautiful. That was, all right. So we're going to let these cook a few more minutes. Make sure that your pan is on low. And what we want is just to make sure that the inside is fully cooked. Giving these another 2 minutes or so. We just want to make sure that they are fully solid. They are nice and jiggly and nice and brown on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off and we will serve this up. All right, we have served this one up. They are really nice and fluffy. They have deflated a little bit, but they are nice and they have that nice, beautiful softness. Oh, very pillowy pancake, very jiggly. So those look beautiful. All right, so I have added some, you could definitely add whipped cream to this. That would be delicious. I've added some yogurt and some frozen berries that I've defrosted. Fresh berries would also be spectacular. And of course the maple syrup. So let's give this a try. Ooh, really, really, really soft. It is perfectly cooked in the middle. We don't have any of that raw batter. Mmm. Oh, that's good. It's like a standard pancake. It's a really good pancake, but it is so much fluffier. Got that nice jiggle. That's delicious. A little bit labor intensive, but I think the result is worth it. I think these are really delicious. And the texture is definitely worth it. I think the texture is what makes this just a really great, nice treat. Thank you so much for clicking on and watching today's video and for being here today. If you'd like to see more content like this, make sure you like this video and subscribe. I will link the recipe in the description below, and I'll see you next time.